Christmas lights, check. Beer, check. Okay, let's start the video, and I want to mention that I'm leaving automatic light intensity control on because I'm going to be showing you these lights in the dark for maximum effect, so the light will possibly waver up and down while I'm recording. My apologies about that. I also want to mention there's someone called Dave is looking to get in touch with his brother who he's not seen for a long time. His brother is technically minded and would recognise himself being described as Kemptown Andy. So if Kemptown Andy does watch this channel, his brother Dave would like him to get back in touch if possible. And if he's lost the original contact details, Kemptown Andy can get in touch with me and I'll pass the details on. So this is a very interesting set. This is nice. This is new. It was recommended by someone whose name I've forgotten. I tried looking. I think they must have sent me a message on YouTube because it doesn't allow you to search the messages. It lets you search the comments but not the messages, which is a bit annoying. 'Cause, sometimes people get in touch and then you want to get back in touch with them about whatever they were talking to you about, and you can't find the message. It's buried. So this is a really smart set. They said it's not like you'd expect. It's not flashing LEDs because you get those strings that every 5th or 10th LED flashes, and it's really quite annoying. This is not, and they call these firefly lights, and these came from Amazon, and it says, and I was a wee bit daunted when I saw it, amber LED, and I thought, oh no, I hope it's not those horrible yellow LEDs, but it's not. It's golden warm phosphor ones. There, it's absolutely saturating it already because I've put dark cable under here. So let's plug these in, and let's actually turn the light off then, plug them in, and you'll see the effect. So basically speaking, I'm going to have to unravel some of this stuff here. Basically speaking, every second LED in the set flickers gently, but it does it at its own speed. It's like the candle flicker LEDs, but with that warm golden white phosphor, a really nice colour. It may be coming across as quite yellow in the video, that's just what's happening, but it is a more orangey golden white. And the shimmering makes these very nice because if you spread them out over a bush or something like that, because there are some that are static and some that are shimmering, it's not too flickery, it's just that gentle undulation, and each LED really is just doing its own thing. If I put a bunch of them together, the flickering ones, where's the next one? There's the next one there. You'll see that really they are just totally doing their own thing. They're not in sync in any way. There's no controller as such. So I'm going to turn the light back on again, so brace yourself, it's going to be bright. Oh no, it's so bright. Things worthy of note. This uses a 24 volt power supply instead of the common 31 volt power supplies. I don't think it would harm the lights if you plug them into the 31 volt supply because these tend to current limit it as the standard duty electronic power supply. But if you mix the power supplies up and you plugged another set that was for 31 volts into this set, this power supply, then they might not light very brightly, if at all. So it's worth mentioning that just in case you get one of these sets that mark this power supply with a Sharpie or something, just mark it as being for these lights. And the circuitry in these is quite interesting. It's quite clever how they've done it. I'll just throw those down there and bring in my notepad. So what they've done here is, and I've not drawn all 240, is it 240 LEDs? I think it is 240. I've not drawn them all, but there's basically 30 LEDs in parallel, and then 8 sets of those in series. So each of those 30 parallel sets has about 3 volts across it, and the static LEDs provide a sort of general sort of voltage reference. And every second LED is, well, static flickering, all the way along for the full 30 LEDs. And that means you get the 3 volts across that set, which means that the flickering LED just has, it's like putting it across a 3 volt battery. It's quite half of that voltage and both flicker away. It's quite a nice way of doing it. To make up the 24 volts, they've got the 8 sets of these parallel circuits in series, 3 volts each times 8, 24 volts. And it's quite interesting when you follow along the cable. It is the usual arrangement where it starts off with 2 wires, and then for each long parallel string it's 30. And then after the 30 it goes down to 2 wires of just the link and then the common positive passing through up to the other end. It's a very neat arrangement. I quite like that. Next set that's worth looking at is from a shop in the UK called TJ Hughes. 50 sort of tungsten lampy type sets. So what's interesting about these is that the holders, for a start, it's a very nice design of the actual lamp cap. And the power supply is unusual in that it's a 3.5 volt power supply. It's basically running all the LEDs in parallel. So I'll plug it in. And I'll turn this light off. And you'll see it actually looks pretty good. It actually looks quite nice because unlike many of these other sets where the light goes in and it just dangles at a random angle or height, the LED is actually held in a very specific position within the light, so the globe. So it actually looks pretty good. They're nice and bright and they're, yeah, well I'll show you the cap. So let's turn the power to the lights back on and I'll show you how this works. So basically speaking, each cap has the little blow moulded globe, and into that is this closed end sort of soft rubbery seal that goes in, and that's used to support the LED and also provide a sealing effect. In the cap itself is the LEDs coming in, and they put the LED in and then they put this little plastic spacer through it. Otherwise the LED could just pop out. And the plastic spacer does two things. It holds the LED in, but also pushes it down the middle to a specific height. So if I put that back in, oh no, I have to put it through this first. Through there, put the little cap in to hold it in place, if I can now. It locks it down to the back, it can't pull out the back. And it also pushes it into a very specific distance in there. So you could then, theoretically, any parallel string you've got, you could actually feed them in to this set of globes. So nice as just for the caps, which is basically what I bought it for. Very nice set indeed. Next set worthy of mention. I think this one came from Pound World, and it's one of these timer sets. And I'm going to turn the light back off again, and the unique thing about this, I'll turn it to its static setting. If I can find its static setting. Where is its static setting? It's going to be the last one, isn't it? I think that's it. What's nice about this set is that it's got red, orange and yellow LEDs. I don't know if that's really showing up too well. And on the other side, along the string, it's got blues, greens and pinky purpley colours. So it's effectively, you'll see a slight shimmer here because it is doing that thing that it's swapping the polarity to actually light half the LEDs. All the LEDs on this side are one polarity, all these are the other. It means they can basically animate lights with just two wires. But it's nice that it's got 6 colours along the string. That's a very nice thing. And they went off, that's even better. What's the next set of lights to take a look at? Okay, let's take a look before I zoom down a bit. Lights going on again. Pro Elec. Now the nice thing about the Pro Elec lights, apart from the fact they're quite affordable, they come from CPC Farnell in the UK, but the colour range they do blue, they do the multicolour, they do pink, they do gold, turquoise, cold white, warm white, and a mixture of cold white and warm white. So a good range of colours, and this particular one is the gold colour. And I chose the gold, that's what I've actually got outside my house at the moment. Strung up along the gutter, which provides a nice level of illumination. Right, I've obviously had this packet open at some point because I've shoved a cap on it. Okay, so let's take a look at this. Firstly, it's got the standard Jutai power supply that is so common, but interestingly it's got the different socket in the end. Then it's got the little inline controller that lets you choose patterns. I'll show you the inside of one of these. I've took a picture because I want to see what was inside it. So I'll plug it in and let's see how it looks. Golden, warm tungsten glow, just like sort of tungsten lamps really. It's got a slight hint of pink and gold to it. It's a really nice colour. And this cap looks nice too, the one that I've jammed on. Oh, that, you know what, I can't get it off. That's why, that'll be why that's still on then. So let's take a look at the little controller because that's also quite interesting in this set of 200 lights. So lights going back on. And I shall unplug this and chuck it down to the side at the moment. And I busted open one of the controllers, so I'm going to have to focus down. Let's bring the notepad in as something to focus on. Bing, there we go. Have I focused down properly there? I'm just checking. So yes, I have. Someone mentioned recently I could use Chromecast, and I tried it and it works. That's quite interesting. I'll have to get a TV in here so I can just Chromecast from the phone I record with. Just screencast basically, because it does let me check things like that. But here is the printed circuit board that's in that little controller. And it starts off, the DC power comes in. I've actually got red and black lead because I modified this particular one for my Christmas lights. And the first notable thing is this diode is not a polarity. It is a polarity protection diode, but it's not in series. It's actually a shunt diode, so it's actually the wrong way round. It's pointing towards the positive side. If you connect the polarity wrong in some way, this little track here connects around to this end of the Zener diode and connects the negative to this whole area here. And that means that if you connect the polarity wrong, this diode will just clamp it. It'll stop any damage to the circuitry. And because the power supply is current limited, it won't suffer any harm. The power supply for the little chip here, which has no number on it, I've seen Jutai's power supplies with this chip with a number on it, but it said something like JT something. It was very clearly... Oops, something's just popped. That's interesting. It was very clear. I wonder what just popped out through there. Oh yes, the lighting circuit has gone out. That's interesting. That'll be an interesting thing to trace later on. But the chip had a Jutai electronic custom number on it, so it is a dedicated chip for their purpose. And really pleasingly in these sets, despite the fact they're not terribly expensive sets, it does have the 24CO2N memory chip. This one's marked Atmel. Whether it is Atmel, I don't really know. So the circuitry starts off with a current limiting resistor and a Zener diode, and that is used to limit the current down and provide a supply with this little smoothing and decoupling capacitor next to the chip. The chip itself has two outputs via these resistors to the two H-bridge transistors, so it can swap the polarity in the output. It's also got one input line with this sort of like conductive fingers that when you push the button it just presses a conductive pad across that. And that is more or less it. When you select your program, it stores it into the memory, and I did another video where I took a dump from this memory chip because the controller I had didn't have that chip, it was just blank pads. And to test it, I got a surface mount chip and I just clamped it on without soldering it just to see if it actually stored the setting, and it did. So then I took the chip, took a dump, and it was just one byte of that chip was just a number which represented the number of the program. So the H-bridge output has the two lines feeding via this resistor to NPN transistors. And when those NPN transistors, I'm not actually checked if they're actually NPN or FETs. I'm guessing they're going to be NPN transistors though, just standard silicon ones. Well, the FETs would be silicon too. But the way the H-bridge works is when this output is pulled low by this transistor being turned on, it then turns the other transistor on via this resistor here, which then switches the other pad to the positive rail and vice versa. So it's quite a clever system because if you switch, all you need are two outputs, one for each effective polarity from the H-bridge driver. It's very common. So it's a very simple little controller. Next up, let's take a look at some of Poundland's offerings. Poundland had some interesting things. It had this little dome with the standard little 2032 type base and just one warm out LED inside. Let's see if this is going to show up. I don't know if it will show up. Yeah, it does show up. It shows up actually better than it looks in real life. That would have been better a diffused LED. It's focused LED. It's not a flickering LED. It's just a shit battery holder. Yeah. But what's interesting about this is that with enough force, and it takes a lot of force because it's quite deep, you can actually get this cover off, and then theoretically you could get rid of those bits, and you might be able to push that bit out the bottom, And that gives you an interesting base for other projects. Possibly mains powered projects. 240 volt illuminated globe. Nice. So that's quite nice. Next thing from Poundland, well, we've looked at these already, but it's worth mentioning again. They're little USB lights, which had this slight wiring issue in some of them. But the nicest thing about these, the slight wiring issue involved the positioning of the wire onto the resistor here. Sometimes they got it in the wrong terminal, and it meant the first LED just got the full current from the USB lead, and occasionally it popped and blew the end off the LED, which is how LEDs often fail when they're overloaded. The fuse blows inside and it cracks the LED open. But the notable thing about these is, well, it's a nice enough little string of USB lights, and also, even if it is gold white, and also it's got these nice caps that are just very usable on other sets because they fit over the standard Christmas style LEDs. So they're quite good. Other sets. This is one of my favourite sets from Poundland this year. They call them icicle lights, and unfortunately it's very hit or miss because you either get gold white or you get pink, and there's no indication of the packaging. Even the display showed set number 10, and their display was basically a short section of these lights with a battery pack just stuffed into the bottom of it to power them. And they had two sets. They had the cold white and the pink, and these are notable for the fact that they transmit the light down the plastic very well. The plastic is bubbled at the bottom, and it basically diffuses the light out quite nicely. You can also pull these off. They're adaptable. You can put them on another set again if you wish. So if I turn the light off again, you'll see they actually have quite a good effect of creating a good glow at the bottom because lots of tiny little bubbles here just basically spread the light out. They remind me a lot of Prince Rupert drops, that sort of glass effect, the one that shatters when you crack the end, but these won't because they're kind of acrylic. They're a nice effect. They're quite a smart little light. Light going back on. Another thing that Poundland had that was fairly good, it's a standard thing for them really, but they're increasing the sizes of the sets, is tungsten lights. They've always done the 20 tungsten lights for £1, but they've now got a 50 pack for £2, and I think they do a 100 pack for £5 or £4, something like that, I'm not sure. But these are traditional tungsten lamps for the people who want the original glow. Do you think this is going to work? I've not actually plugged it in yet. It works, that nice, warm, real tungsten glow. I could turn the light off. You can see, but having said that, I'm sure we're all veterans of Christmas lighting. We know what that looks like. And these sets are also just begging for modification. They're so easy to modify with a bit of electronics to change the lamps for just pushing in LEDs instead and repurposing these holders because the glass lamps can easily be removed from the holders. So they're quite good sets and very good value. Cheaper than they used to be in the old days. Well, there you go. So what's next? Have I just about covered everything? I think I have pretty much just about covered everything now. I'm looking around thinking, have I covered everything? Yes, I have. So yes, the winner this year is probably the Tungsten lights, the sort of firefly ones. But these, I definitely like the cover. The Tungsten, I like the effect. And the generic ones from CPC. In the UK, CPC Pro Elec brand. I like these because they're just a good general purpose set with that nice memory controller that stores a pattern. Incidentally, these are very hard to open. I had to really destroy it. I had to physically chew it apart with a pair of snips and pries and things in. I thought I was going to break the circuit board with it. It's very hard to break open. Initially I used the vise to squeeze it until it cracked, but I think this is ultrasonically welded. Very hard to get open indeed. But yeah, but you can get it open if you persist. So yeah, Christmas lights are pretty good this year. It's been quite interesting, the range of stuff that's been new and how things have evolved. So, good result. While making the video, something popped and it took out the whole lighting circuit in that area of the house. And it was the blue collar trash chandelier. One of the lamps in it had failed, and I don't think it's an electronic failure either. I think it's just a manufacturing failure, because the wire that comes up from the base here had some splayed ends sticking out, and I reckon that they've actually touched the side of the housing, and it's just caused it to flash in that area. And it has caused a little bit of damage. It's blown a track away, probably as a result of the sort of avalanche flashing effect from the adjacent conductor, which is connected to the shell. So that's interesting. I have tested this lamp since by just bridging across with a suitable bit of circuitry, and it does work. It seems to not have any problem. There's no sign of any damage. Theoretically, the capacitor could have gone short circuit very briefly, but I don't think that has happened. I think it is just really the wire tail off here has just been so close to the side, partly because the circuit board is just loose in here, that it's just touched it and it's shorted out. Interesting.